What's up, everyone? We're back live from good old YouTube. Let me just make sure. Yo, what is up? Alright. How are y'all doing? It's Thursday. The weeks are just blending in all together. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I've been working on a lot of music, so it's been great. Pull out the Sennheisers. So today I wanted to go through a track that I just finished. It's called Brightest Lights by Lane 8 remix. Brightest Lights is a amazing song by Lane 8. For those that don't know Lane 8, it's like a combination of deep house with progressive as in not the shitty put your hands up kind of shit, but like, you know, like the deadmau5 and more melodic journey type tunes. Lane 8 over the years has kind of found his ground and made a really big impact in that kind of type of music, as well as like he has his own label. He has all the other guys with Njuna Deep that, you know, produces similar music, but I think that guy is pretty incredible, and he's doing a remix comp, and I stumbled on it. You know, I don't know, I wasn't really planning on diving into it, but the ideas just kind of came, and this is what I got, so I'm gonna preview it for you guys. Let's give it a play. Where's my stream? Alright, cool. If anyone's there in the chat, say what's up. I would love to chat with you. Hello and welcome to the chat. Alright, so this is my remix, Lane 8. I'm just gonna play it through. I'm gonna put some cool visuals over it, just so that, you know, it's not, you're just not watching me or watching the project just play by. So let's play this guy, and yeah, hope you guys like it. Here we go.
Fire to be closer to you. I will never be whole till I've carved in stone your heart I hold. Away from trouble, the old heartache brings. Over none of the matters, it's all gonna scatter. You're all I need. Shattered, searching for matter, all the webs are gone. The feeling I'm feeling, I know it's a reason. I want it the rest of our lives. The feeling I'm feeling, I know it's a reason. I want it the rest of our lives. We're the brightest light, stars that gather around just to be
All right. Thank you guys for listening. I hope the visuals weren't too choppy. I was like previewing it on the broadcasting station, and it was like kind of working, but I'm not sure. My computer is not the best. It's a 2015 MacBook Pro, which the specs are in the description below. I'm thinking about getting a new computer, so if you guys have any suggestions, you can let me know. I'm trying to upgrade so I can do more videos, more recording, rendering, you know, all this stuff that requires more processing. So anyway, do more video. That being said, I'm going to dive into the project. Let me just do a timestamp right here. Going into project info. Alright, so what do we have here? So Lane 8 gave out his vocals. It was this.
Work the fire.
And then I you know, was like, alright, well, there's no stems besides vocals, which is fine. It just means that you have a lot of creative control, you know? The thing with remix competitions is that when people give you a lot of stems, it almost makes it more difficult to be original because you feel like you gotta use everything, or like you feel the need to, you know, at least like throw something in there, and I really don't think that's the way you should approach a remix. A remix should be your own take of a song. So to me, you know, the original song, if you haven't heard it yet, go check it out. Lane 8, Brightest Lights. It's, you know, it's very peaceful. It's like a journey. It's growing and growing over time, and then it has like a resolution, but at the end you still don't feel like it you know, there was no like completion. It was more like leaving it an open-ended interpretation of how the ending sounds. So I kind of went off that theme when I made this song. You can, you know, the intro is very like melodic and heavenly. So this is actually a guitar loop that I found. Funny story about this remix. Before I started this remix, it was actually a project file that had the intention of being like a pop song with some deep house elements to it. So it was interesting how after I wrote some of the songs, I had a vision of putting Lane 8's vocals on it, because I wrote half of it, which was this chord progression. So let's listen to the chord progression. So if you noticed, the chord, so I'm not the best at music theory, so I'm not going to use any terminology, but basically the chords are all set up so it leads into the next like chord. Not like in terms of harmonic changes, but just like timing. I guess some harmonic as well. Like the most basic way to make chords is like every quarter note, right? Or you can do this, the standard dun 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 dun, which is like, it's just so overdone. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just that your music is not gonna stand out. Versus this one, I actually made this chord progression based on the guitar sample, the guitar loop that I found. So if we listen to this. So I was trying to match that melodic content with this other rare sample, this other loop here. So you can kind of tell that the lower notes, the bass, you can hear the boom, 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 boom. Sorry if my humming is off as fuck. But basically, I had this sample loop and then this sample loop. Both are in F minor, and I liked the bass progression on this one, but I didn't want that to play throughout the whole song, because it doesn't have as much like melodic structure. It just has like notes. So basically, this like nice lush guitar loops the entire song. I made a second addition to it, which is just a pitched up 5 semitones, and I did that because I believe that makes the melodic structure sound like it resolves before it gets back to the loop. So you can see that I only do it on the second repeat, because if this repeated the whole time, it might not be as exciting. And then this is also the motif, the ba-na-na-na, because you can hear that I also reference it later in the song with the arp here. And I do that only on the second time, because if I played it on the first time, then people would low-key be expecting it to hear it again the second time. But if I don't show that at all, you know, and I just bust it out, it's like a new sound, but the melody repeats the entire song, that it just like digests really well with your mind. And that's why I threw a second iteration of that towards the end. And in context, everything else.
Every piece will be shattered, searching for matter, all the webs are gone. The feeling
it's just to like reiterate the motif of the song, which is also this ba-na-na-na, the little phrase, and then also the arp that basically goes throughout the entire track. So you can hear it, this arp. So important thing to note is this nice gradual filter opening. I think I mentioned this in one of my other videos, but sometimes when I'm lazy, I just automate the EQ8, because why not? Like, you're doing the exact same thing as the filter. I don't know if I recommend you doing it, but I use it when I know that this is the only song that, or the only channel that I'm gonna filter, because I could put an EQ on the main thing, on the main channel, and, you know, have a filter open up or close there. But this is just a shortcut, I guess, because you can automate, you know, all the points on an EQ. If you're not using the EQ for sculpting sound, like for example, this is literally just working as a filter, right? Versus some other shit. Like, see, this one, I'm using it to sculpt this sound for the mix. You can see that I cut the mids out and I have it reduced from the highs and the lows, and then the sides have more content. And that was because I wanted the sides to have more of that lower frequency range. Just because it's here doesn't mean that it's in the whole mix, because if you look at my master channel, I have on every single project, I have an EQ at the beginning of the chain in which I cut off sides. I roll off somewhere like a gentle roll. What is this? This is an 18 per octave. So I do an 18 dB per octave starting around 132 on the sides. And this is so that all this extra information that's coming into the master gets cut out and reduced, so that when we're making our mix, we don't have that extra garbage muddying up our lower end. So I still think that some sides can exist in this lower range. I wouldn't put anything under like 100, obviously, but I think if you have some harmonics from 100 to 250 or whatever, I don't think that's bad. A lot of songs that have a super wide stereo image, like if you listen to the EQ, there's a lot of side information on the lower ends. So I would suggest you go to, you know, a project that sounds very, very loud and wide, and like use EQ and use this little headphone mode, because that lets you tune into the frequency. So I think I got this idea when I was looking at some trap songs. There's a lot of like minimal trap stuff from early 2012, 2011, I think. Like when Bauer and shit was going off. They have a lot of songs that sound super wide, even though like all they have is an 808 and like very minimal, you know, percussive or like synths that are not as deep as the music now. So yeah, something you can do on your own too. Since I thought the song was an F minor, because I don't know music theory very well, and I looked it up, and someone said it was F minor, but it's not. So I had to tune it down to semitones. This one's busted up an octave. So when I do vocals, I usually have a lot of layers. I typically, because I don't know how to record my own vocals, I think that's a skill that I'll need to pick up. But when I do vocals based off of other people's stuff, which is 99% of the time, I always have I think of vocals as like a center vocal, which is the strongest point, and then you have other layers that kind of surround your head. So middle would be like, the lower range to like 1,000 something, like the main what is it called, fundamental frequencies of a voice, and then as the sound gets higher, you kind of want that sound to surround your head because it gets airier, if that makes sense. So what I mean by that is, if you look at this, I put a limiter on the vocals because when I was first making this song, like, I think I was making it too loud, and I was like, I'll put a limiter. So it works. It just helps you balance out the mix in the long run. So if we look at this, I've made this vocal rack chain, which if you guys want this, I can give it out, but the only problem is that I used Valhalla Vintage. So if you don't have this, it's not going to work. Basically, instead of having 3 separate channels for your vocal, I made this rack. So you have the dry, which is the straight signal. We have the delay, which I have a delay automation that is programmed to one of these guys here. And then I have a reverb, which is this reverb layer. So together they form such a more rich and round vocal layer versus if this wasn't on. So just to give you the difference, here's with it on.
Feeling, I'm feeling, I know it's a reason I want.
So you can obviously hear the reverb. I have the reverb layer the loudest because the song is airy and dreamy, so I wanted the vocals to kind of encompass the main theme. When the vocals are too dry, it just feels like you copy and pasted a song together. So just keep that in mind when you mix vocals. Basically, the reverb and the delay is there together to kind of blend the sound into like the rest of your track. So if we look at, man, I'm just talking so much. So if we look at this, if we turn it off and just go dry.
Feeling, I'm feeling, I know it's a reason I want it.
Right, very sad and dry and sad, double sad. We have reverb.
Feeling, I'm feeling, I know it's a reason I want.
So that gives it the width, right? The width, as in it fills up a lot of space. The space filled in gives you that full warm satisfaction of a very stereo wide song. Sorry, that might have been super redundant, but basically the reverb is there so things don't sound like it's just like there. It's like the reverb is like fuzzying it up so that it blends in with the rest of your track. And then the delay just gives like nice little, right? You can hear it's like going nah, 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 but you can't really hear it when it plays together.
Feeling, I'm feeling, I know.
Right? You can hear it now because I pointed it out, but when you just heard it in the context of the song, none of that was really present to you, right? So that's the secret with producing, is like all the little things you do contribute to the bigger picture. So these little things that I try to do for every song helps blend in all the different sounds together so that it sounds like I was, intentionally putting this together. Like I had the vocals when I made the song, not like, all right, I finished the song, I'm just gonna paste it together. So vocal processing. If you guys want me to cover more about vocal processing, I can, make a whole video about it, or I can go on live stream and you guys can ask questions if anyone watches this. But yeah, I'm always happy to help you out. It's free content for the kids at home. Next we got this plus 12. So this is like a pitched up layer. And then together with this, you can faintly hear it because obviously it sounds like a chipmunk, so I didn't want that to be heard, but it adds more upper harmonics to the vocals. So now we have a center vocal that's reverbed and delayed, so it's already spreading. And then we have a plus 12 semitone, so 1 octave higher vocal, which also gives another layer of like height on your mix because it's filling up the higher frequencies. Typically I would spread this out more. I don't know why I didn't do it, but it's probably because I have this other vocal layer. Usually you would want to put them together. I don't know why I did this. So this is the Haas layer. So this one is extreme left-right spread, and it's reverbed out. I cut the lows on it because I don't want that lower frequency to mess up the rest of the mix, especially because it's going through so much reverb. And I have so this Ape Haas was given to me by a homie that I collabed with. It's very easy to make, so if you want to screenshot this, just screenshot it. It's super simple. All it's doing is that it's taking the signal coming in. If you can follow with the mouse, okay? With the signal coming in, you're splitting it into the left and right channel. You're adding a 21.6 millisecond delay to the left channel, which gives the illusion that it's like this wide, basically. And it also fills in the middle because of the delay, and it's there to ensure that you don't have any phase cancellation. So there's obviously some going on, I believe, but it's not big enough where the mix is compromised on a mono system. So I'm just gonna play what I mean. So okay, so we have the Haas. Without the Haas, it's just gonna be this. Okay, and now we have Ape Haas. And obviously we have like two channels blasting at 0 dB on left and right, so it kind of like doubled the volume on that end of the spectrum. And then if we go to mono, right, so on mono you still maintain the same volume, you just kind of lose that effect, but that's obviously how it's going to happen because you're in mono now. So it's fine, but that's how you can check, is you mono and then take off your effect, put on your effect, just go back and forth until you can hear the difference, and then you know that you're doing it right. So yeah, so that's like, I think of that as like the left right. If your monitor is set up, you can really tell when this is present because the vocals sound so much fuller. So I said full like 1,000 times, but literally that it takes like this many layers to make your vocals sound full. So it's not really difficult, it's just like finding the right tools and yeah, putting it together. And the intro, I used a portion of the vocals that didn't really have any words in it. So this part. So you can see here that I looped that part. So because I tried stretching the sample, but it made it sound like it was like time stretching. So it was like, and I didn't want that. So by looping a specific section and choosing the right fade curves, you can really like elongate a tone, even if it's just a sample. And I find that always sounds better than putting it in a sampler or simpler, because you can sometimes sweet spot it with all the blending of the fades and curves and stuff, but I think that it sounds better when you work in audio because you know that you're not stretching the audio. So that's my personal take. I have a speech enhancer, which I don't know, I never use this, but it's just a multi-band. Give it some boost. I think it just brings up the mid and the highs, and since it's just like a very soft tone, here, we'll turn this up. This is the main one. Yeah, so it's very dry and sad again, and I boosted it by 11 dB because it was so quiet. Yeah, so you can hear that every little thing here contributes to the overall sound, and it makes it sound like a nice full bed of harmonics. And then I have the echo at 100%, so it has a tail, and you know, it kind of brings it into the next phrase without having to add any more here. One of my biggest weaknesses is like whenever something isn't playing, I think I need to put more stuff there. So this was a challenge to myself where I wanted to respect the space and really take time between each phrases. So building on that idea, you know, the first drop, or chorus, I should say.
Over memory matters. It's all instead of you're all I need. The feeling I'm feeling, I know.
So there's no builds or drops, right? But the song feels like there's still momentum and there's still tension coming and going. So the way I'm doing this is I have specific arps and like the supplemental portions of the song increase and decrease in volume. So you can see here in the intro until the main chorus where, right, so that part of the chorus, or is that the bridge, the hook? I guess that's the hook, right? I don't know the terms very well, but whatever this section is, the pre-chorus like build vocals, that part, like even the vocals itself, it sounds like it wants to build more tension. So I thought, okay, maybe, you know, we cut down so this is the guitar layer. I'm cutting down the volume of this by 1 dB. So now I'm allowing the vocals to be in the front and focused, versus like I don't want the guitar and the vocal to both be like fighting for attention. And then I also have this chord progression of the single strum guitar. So that's building with the vocal in the center seat, and then it creates like an illusion that it's a build without any like crazy drums or like, you know, crazy effects. And then you can also see that I have the ARP. Again, I'm doing another filter automation of it coming in. Filter automation is like the easiest way to build tension, and you don't even need that to be like obviously in the front. You can even do it in the background, like kind of like this, because when this part starts, like you can hear the melody coming in, but you know, it's still like a secondary compared to the vocals. But by the time the chorus starts, it's a lot more obvious. And I also increased the bass sound by 2 dB here, so that that lower end punch and just strength is there, because a lot of my older songs, I think I made the problem of having a loud sub bass when there shouldn't have been a sub bass, like especially in like the verses of the song. So this one I wanted to bring the bass in when the main idea, or like the main chorus started. So that's why you see this 2 dB jump right here. And I also have a bass note playing on the piano. It just mirrors the bass sound. And then I'm sure you guys want to know, what is the bass from? It's a Spire patch that I found. It's called Low Bass. I just like that it kind of sounds like a rezz bass. Just like, you know, a little bit more, like it sounds like it could be powerful, but because I mixed it in a way where it doesn't sound too overpowering, it has a nice like solid foundation, and it doesn't overpower the song, which is also just like exercising your levels. So normally if I was new and I wanted the bass to be loud, I would have cranked it up, but I told myself, you know, this is a Lane 8 remix, let's turn it down and everything will be okay. So turn it down. Standard sidechain, I think I always tell you guys I do, you know, about 5-to-1 ratio, 0.1 or 0.01 milliseconds. The needs 16, so it gives it that range of ducking, and then release is 30.7 because I thought that sounded the best when I was in my car. So something that I do a lot, or I used to do a lot more, but now I don't do it as much, is if you have a sub pack, or if you have a vehicle with a nice sub, I go to my car and I do this. I solo the bass and I solo the drums. And then I will typically fine-tune this. See, there's no bounce. That's too much, like it sounds like EDM. Alright, we don't want that. So you start reducing it. sounds a lot more natural. And then the release, right? The release is too long. You can't even hear the sub come in. You start bringing it down, bringing it down. See, if it's too early, you can hear that it's not doing shit, and your bass sounds like ass with your sub, or with your kick. So around here, around this like 30 to 50 range is like typically where I have it for house, especially for 124 BPM. And I didn't want it to sound like it was pumping, so that's also why I chose this. So it just sounds like it's going dun 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 versus like like when you have a bass that sounds like that, I think there's a time and place for it, but it's very obvious to me that whoever made it doesn't know what they're doing. And I don't know, I typically don't listen to their music because it doesn't sound good, and it also messes up the control of the song. So very key to have that nice kick and bass relationship. So yeah, go to your car, play in your car, don't feel ashamed. I still do it. You know, it is what it is. So that's the bass. We went through the ARP, we went through the guitar sounds. I have another guitar ARP. So this is basically just there to give it, you know, another variation of the same chord. This is actually made from the motif of the song. I used that as a chord, and I found some sort of ARP generator that played the right notes, and I just froze it, and I can't unfreeze it because it's gonna explode. So we're just gonna leave it that way. Yo, Mellow Boy Music. Sorry, I just saw your message. My bad. Welcome. Let me know if you have any questions or if you are following along, where you're from, how you're doing today. Just let me know in the comments. Okay, so we got this, we got the vocals, effects, Fur Beats, what is good? How's it going? Yeah, effects section, this is like probably the most boring part, but you know, you gotta do it. Simple effects, the less builds and the less impacts, you know, all the stuff that you can get in a pack. I try to minimize the uses of it. Like, it's okay to have white noise, I think, and like, you know, little crash cymbals here and there, but you don't want to use too much FX because then it just sounds cheesy as fuck. So this kind of connects back with the whole automating your pieces in the song, which adds tension, and that sounds so much more organic than like laying over a giant build up or something like that. And there are times where I do that, but it's like it doesn't sound as cohesive as it could be. So yeah, I mean, FX, if you want to listen to it, I got some swooshes. Super exciting. This project, no, because it's for a remix comp, and I'm actually trying to place it or win it. So maybe after it's done, but for the time being, I'm not planning on releasing this project, unfortunately. But I have a bunch of other projects that I can go through that's, you know, not a remix competition, and it's just like standard stuff. So if you guys have a genre or something, like, I can try and make a lesson around it and, you know, give away projects because it's fun and it gives me practice. So yeah, so this one, another sweep. I have an impact. Thank you, Vengeance. This is like a super old Vengeance thing, I think. And then this is from deadmau5's X-Fur pack. I just reversed a cymbal crash, and then you get, if you want like a smooth swoosh, let's see, why is my, oh, there it is. So see how like I used the fade here? That way you get rid of this crash transient. Oh, this one doesn't have one. But typically all crashes have a crash transient, but if you do this, you get rid of that like tail of it going this, and then it just kind of goes like smoother. Let's see if we can hear it here. Versus, you can't really tell that much of a difference, but if there was something, you can definitely hear it. And then this impact too, I got rid of the kick. and I just did this so that I only get the higher end of it. Yeah, and that's just, you know, ways to cater all these samples to your very own music. So yeah, where are you guys watching from? That'd be cool to know. I'm from LA. Everything is shut down, so we got nothing to do except for live on the webs. Alright, so drums. Let's go over drums. Let's play the beautiful drum loop. Alright, super sick, right? So drums, wow, I didn't do anything on it. So standard kick, for music like this, I like to use a kick reducer. Kick reducer is an Ableton preset, so if you go to your audio effects, compressor, kick reducer right here. I use this a lot because a lot of kick samples come like too processed and too fat. Kick reducer kind of like trims out the lower boom basically of your kick, so it's more of a thud. And for music like this, you don't really need a long tail. You know, there's still bass content, but it's not lingering, right? It's just like a thud, thud. So if we didn't have a kick reducer, and then if we didn't reduce the lower end, alright, it sounds a little bit too boxy, and like it sounds like, I mean, it's just out of context with the song, but the little bit of processing with the kick reducer and the EQ like makes it fit better for this kind of music. Yeah, so kick reducer, I highly recommend you guys checking it out. It's free and it's on Ableton, so you already paid for Ableton if you did buy it, so definitely check it out. Ghost kick is standard as usual. I have a sound that sounds like this. It's a little blip. Okay, and then you go to sends only, and now this signal is going to all of my channels in which I use sidechain, which is everything. So if you go to vocals, you can see here, ghost kick, sidechain, dial it in, melody, sidechain, dial it in, bass, sidechain, and then this one. So everything is sidechain. Everything's sidechained a little bit differently, but the same signal is triggering the sidechain for every single element. So if you guys want a video on sidechaining, I can go through it. It's really a concept that you'll just like, you know, it'll be like waking up and brushing your teeth or washing your face. Like eventually it'll just be second nature, but until you understand what a sidechain is, like it's just a little bit hard to visualize, I guess. But once you get it, you'll be like, how did I not get this before? So I can make a video on the sidechain if you guys want. And I got a clap, another small clap. Yeah, I don't know. I wanted everything to just kind of be nice and mellow. Hats are also pretty mellow. Has a little shaker element before it. I think this was a loop that had way too much going on, so I just chopped it up until I liked how smooth this sounded. And then we have this shaker that goes around the head. And what I mean by that is that I have this auto pan, and what auto pan does is that it moves the sound like this, or like this, or like whatever. So I use auto pan on my higher percussive elements, pretty much on every song. If it was like a hi-hat in a trap song, like that, to my terrible beatboxing, but I would have that go, you know, left and right, and then I also have a middle one so that it doesn't like distract the listener too much, because when there's too much panning, like, I don't know, I'm not a fan of a lot of panning. I think it kind of distracts the listener. But if you do it tastefully, like if you do a something like this is hypothetical / I wanted to do this, but okay, let's say we have this sound, right? It's a build up. Okay, how can we make it more exciting so we can automate the panning? So first click here, push A so you can get your automation channel. Okay, and this is why Ableton 10 is sick. So we're gonna do this here. I'm gonna pull this, we're gonna draw that, alright, and then we're gonna reduce this, okay, and then we're gonna we don't want it to be too extreme at first. So first we'll make it go, how many beats is this? 2. Okay, so now not only is this sound building, we're also impacting the way it's coming into people's headphones. So if you're on headphones, you can hear this, or if you have a monitor. So now we have this right to left motion, right? Right, so now it's like spinning around your head, which is fucking sick. And then to build more tension, what you could do is that we can, let's do this again. So we're gonna do this, we're gonna shrink it. Oops, okay. And then we're going to repeat this. So now it's oscillating at a faster rate. And then we're gonna reduce that again. I think you guys can see where I'm going here. We're gonna reduce it again. And then now, this sounds like this. All right, now there's like so much movement. I'm actually gonna keep this, I think. Maybe not for this song, but you know, now this went from a, here, this is what it was before. Right, very one-dimensional, just like, all right, here's a fucking increase in sound, and now we have this sound that's like warping around, and all we did was just automate the panning on it. So I do this a lot. I also talk about this a lot in my videos, so I'm sorry if I repeat it, but basically this is like a cool way to use very boring one-shot builds, and then you can give it your own movement. So I'm gonna delete it because it doesn't make sense in this song, but I do that a lot. And I think that is it for this track. I already talked to the drums, melody, everything else. So yeah, guys, I got 3 people watching. Damn, we are peaking tonight. Holy shit. Thank you guys for tuning in. Unless you guys have any questions, you can leave it in the comment section or in the chat. I would love to respond to you. If you guys want me to stream regularly, I can make a schedule. I'm still deciding what I want to do, but I do plan on streaming weekly, whether it's about a project or if it's about a concept, just something that I'm working on that I would like to share with you guys. So today was the Lane 8 Brightest Lights remix. I hope you guys liked the preview. I'll link the timestamp in the description when I'm done with this video. And yeah, guys, hope you all had a good day. Keep on fighting on with the COVID quarantine situation, but you know, we got other people out there who are actually putting their lives out there, and you know, we just have to stay in. So let's stick to that motto, and you know, wash your hands and be healthy, and hopefully, you know, everything will be back to normal soon. But until then, we'll be producing here. So alright guys, thanks for tuning in. See y'all next time, and yeah, see y'all soon. Peace.